Another little cold Colorado morning. But it was a good morning once things got rolling. Got outside, walk, time with the dogs, little training, some a little work outside, a little shoveling, cleaning things up. Um, when I woke up, this is day 2 of our little gratitude exercise. We're gonna go 31 days. Something you're grateful for every day. And this is a really simple exercise my mom shared with me when I was younger. We were talking about this yesterday. And I thought it was really stupid when she first told me about it, like most teenagers would think about anything that they're not already doing. That's different from what they do. But after doing it, I really enjoyed it then. And I've done it, recurring times throughout my life, and felt like it was time to do it again. And I thought it'd be cool just to share it out. And if anybody else wants to participate, just every day, I'll share mine out here. You can throw yours in comments, shout it out to the world. The one kind of requirement was just to write it down each day, and you could write it on a piece of paper you're going to throw out. Journal, 3x5 card, sticky note. It's just really about the physical act of doing that. Anyway, so when I woke up, was actually kind of a little cranky, and maybe we'll get into that too. Just being a little turd. Got outside, did some stuff, and then got outside, started shoveling, and we got this snow pusher shovel. It's not really like a shovel where you scoop and throw. It's really cool for like sidewalks or long driveways. And man, it was like every lane or pass with the snow pusher, I started to feel a little better. And so it struck me like a ton of bricks as far as what I was grateful for today. And when I was out there too, it was funny because this reminded me of it as well. But we have a neighbor, he has a tractor. And you can just tell he's retired, but you can just tell the people who just love work. Just they like to work. They like to find tasks. They like to have purpose and just move forward. And he gets out, and we don't get a ton of snow, but when we get snow, he'll clear out other people's driveways. He'll plow the entire sidewalk or a good portion of it in the neighborhood. If our driveways, hasn't been shoveled or cleaned up, he'll hit us up and ask if he wants us to plow it, and super generous. It's a really nice thing. But I saw him get out there on the tractor, and I got out there with a snow pusher. So my goal was to finish the driveway and some of the sidewalk and all our stuff before he got up to us, and I did. But as I was doing that and I was thinking about him, what I was really grateful for and am grateful for today are just the positive examples of physical labor in my life and physical activity. And there were 3 people, especially on like the work aspect of it. I think physical labor is really important. Not just like getting out and exercising. I mean, going out and doing like some sort of task, work, whatever that is physical. And there were 4 people that popped into my head this morning. 2 of them were my parents. Were always awesome examples of this. I think I always looked up to them for this. And you don't always like it, right? You don't always like the physical labor, but man, there's so many good things about it. I've talked about it before, the tangibility of the completion of the task, how visible it is. It's easy to measure in some cases. I'm a big believer that's our bodies were made to work and move. And the 2 other people I thought of was really one of the first jobs that I had. But Daryl saw one and Lori Lee saw one. They owned a wholesale and retail seafood market. And like I said, it was one of my first real jobs, packing fish orders, delivering them to restaurants. And we did some catering there, and they had a retail business too. I didn't really work much on the retail, but man, they just embodied the work hard, play hard. And they were not afraid of hard work. And in some cases they loved diving in together and getting it done. And they really, there were a lot of other people in my life who stick out as good examples of that, but those 4 people, like, I think about a lot, and I'm grateful to them for having that example. Because I tell you, it's like, the desk work sometimes, there's just something to it that's, I don't know. It's not, I don't know if it's hard to see or it's too much time there. I guess it's only too much time there if you don't want to spend that much time there, but grateful for the appreciation of physical effort. Got outside, cleaned up the driveway, cleaned up the outside. Felt a whole lot better. Sun came up. Day is rolling. Side quest check back onto the main quest. So that was kick ass. Anyway, day 2 gratitude done. The other thing I wanted to talk about here, and it was funny because I wanted to talk about this before this morning, but thinking about my first job at the Other Brother Daryl's Seafood Market, God, it was an amazing place. Thinking about that first job, and then talking about like how Daryl and Lori Lee are definitely people who wanted to like dive in, help do work. Also connects what I wanted to talk about coming off of yesterday's. I was kind of sharing that story from the Big Fish event, and just the importance of sometimes just showing up and just standing shoulder to shoulder with somebody, even if you don't have the answer. I do want to dive in and tell that story in a way that I feel like gives it the value and appreciation it deserves, because I think it's hard to encapsulate what that 30 hours, even the time that we spend time together leading up to it, but what that 30 hours is, it's hard to encapsulate that in what yesterday was, 12, 13 minutes. But another thing I was thinking about, we had a pretty busy week at work the last 2 weeks, some big launches, some big events. And there was just a lot going on, and there are always challenges, and the team working on all this really came together. I mean, they worked through the weekend and longer days through the weeks. But anyway, kind of getting toward the tail end of that, one of my colleagues we were on a big group call, and they were talking to the call, and she said basically something to the extent of, hey, appreciate everybody being here, putting in the long hours, sorry you guys had to be here throughout the weekend. And I get why you'd say this. I think it's the polite thing to say. It's a thoughtful, kind thing to say. But also in my head, and I didn't have a ton to contribute, and showed up on some calls throughout the weekend, and I was the smallest cog in that machine, and there were people who were far more important and vital to the process. But in my head, it was like I wasn't sorry. And the reason was because I miss that kind of stuff so much. A friend of mine calls it like that startup mentality, like the work all day, sleep on the couch kind of mentality. Like there's something so fun to that. And this goes back to yesterday. It's just that concept of grinding with a team toward a, shared common purpose and goal. And man, the more I thought about yesterday, the more I just realized how much I miss that. And it goes back to my competing days with CrossFit. And it was fun to do it at work. It was fun to, put in a little bit of extra time here and there, and just even sometimes be there with the team. Another guy I work with, he was basically saying, he's like, one of the things I miss about an office is, even if I'm not the main contributor to the task, or I have the skill set that contributes the most to the task, he's like, I can be there, like the welcome wagon, morale booster, making people espressos, and, just chipping away at something as a group. I think my short-term goal is to find more ways to participate in that kind of stuff in not just in all aspects of life. I'm not saying that's how you should live all the time, but God damn, it's fun to be on a team, and it's fun to do all the things that teams do. The other thing I was thinking about as far as like being on that team was, you don't always have to be that guy on the team either. It was interesting to listen to my other colleague's point of, hey, I might not have the skills to do all the stuff, but I'll make espressos, I'll give out high fives and get snacks and stuff like that. You might not, always have to be like not that isn't a star player, but like the person who carries the majority of the task forward. The cool thing about teams is everybody has a role to play. And I think some of the best team players that I've had the pleasure of competing with or working with or whatever, they have the ability to be multi-purpose in their roles. Like sometimes they can take a step back and, yes, just be the yes man or woman. Yes, I'll do that. Okay. Rather than having to always be the idea person or pushing things forward or, the main star player at the time. I think that's a cool thing to look at for yourself. Like when you are in a team environment, do you only have one single role to play? It's always amazing to me that like some of the best team players I've met can step back and don't always have to like drive forth in the command leadership role. They can step back and listen. That's why I always like the movies like I love what was that first one? Not Pirate. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I almost just said it. Freudian slip. It's probably one of my favorite movies. Adventures with your friends, finding treasure on the beach, on the water. Sounds like heaven. But Guardians of the Galaxy. I like that Guardians of the Galaxy so much. Just the concept of the motley crew coming together and individually they're just a broken, each one of them is a broken mess, but together they kind of fill gaps, make up for shortcomings, find ways to work together and click and make something greater. So super cool concept. Lots to talk about there in the future as well. But that's it. Day 2, the gratitude in the bag, and more tomorrow.